Edible scones are possible. Just follow this recipe. We're going to start out by taking 8 tablespoons of cold butter and grating them against the small holes of a box grater. It's kind of an odd technique, but it essentially creates little twizzles of butter that incorporate really nicely into the flour. Once you're done grating up the butter, you'll see it looks kind of like a pile of cheese. Put the butter in the freezer while you're working on the other ingredients. For your dry ingredients, you need 2 cups of flour, a half cup of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of lemon or lime zest. First, you're going to take your 2 cups of flour and toss it in your bowl. Then you're going to add your half cup of sugar. I also have my salt in this bowl. Now we'll add your 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Uno, dos. I don't speak Spanish at all. I took 5 years and yet I remember how to count to 10. You also want to add your 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda to the bowl. Now let's add in our teaspoon of lemon or lime zest. Time to mix it up. For our wet ingredients, we want a half cup of milk and a half cup of sour cream. Whisk it to combine. Then let's add some vanilla. I add about a teaspoon. Grab your butter from the freezer and your dry ingredients. Make sure to take off any rings because dough will get in all of the crevices if you're not careful. So you're going to take your butter and you're going to combine it with the dry ingredients. Now we're going to add our wet ingredients. First, you want to add a little well, but I forgot, so I had to go and make one after I'd already started pouring, but that's okay. So you add your wet ingredients and then you want to fold them until moistened, not overworked. I like to add about a cup of raisins, but you can do whatever you want. You could add cranberries, nuts, you name it, you can probably add it to a scone. But I think that the raisins are a classic and they're so delicious in this recipe. We're gonna flour our surface pretty heavily, so make sure that there's a good coating of flour, and you're gonna take your dough and you're gonna turn it onto the floured board. It's super crumbly and messy, don't worry, you're gonna knead it a bit and it'll come together. As you can see, it's nice and incorporated. I'm going to add a little bit more flour to my surface and I'm going to start rolling it out. I'm going to eyeball this. I'll probably end up rolling it to about 12 by 12 inches. Now I'm going to fold the dough into thirds, both sides. This should create nice flaky layers. I'm gonna mess with it some more because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but at this point it's ready to go in the freezer to chill down for another 5 minutes. Pull your dough out of the freezer and roll it again into about a 12-inch square. We're going to roll the dough in thirds again from the top, this time kind of making a loaf-like shape. Once you're happy with the dough, you're going to take a sharp knife and you're going to cut 4 equal squares. Once you've cut your 4 squares, you can take your knife and cut diagonally, creating the scone triangle. At this point, you want your oven preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Take your scones and place them on a baking sheet. Once your scones are on the baking sheet, go ahead and brush them with some melted butter or an egg wash. It's now time to put your scones in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Ta-da! Of course you need a cup of tea to go with your scone. Once you take it out of the oven, it should have a nice golden brown bottom side. Same with the top. Once you open it, you should see little bits of raisin. Oh my gosh, doesn't it look so good? I like to serve mine with a little bit of jam, but it really doesn't need it in my opinion. The English also like to have jam with their clotted cream, but that's not really very easily accessible here in the States. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Cheers!